Welcome to That 30 Show, a podcast where we talk about the good, the bad, and the surprising parts of our 30s. I'm G, and I'm finally 30. I'm excited to find out if 30 really is the new 20, because if it is, then the best years are yet to come.
And I'm David. I'm entering my mid-30s. I used to have no back pain or trouble sleeping, but now I live off a healthy diet of self-help books and dream of being in bed by 10 p.m. every night. Join us each week as we try to figure out together what life in your 30s is all about.
Welcome back to That 30 Show, everyone. So, today, as you can see, I am here by myself. My co-host is not joining me today. David is going to be back next week and we'll be back to our regular program. But for the next 30 minutes, you are stuck with me. So grab a beverage, of your choice, a coffee, a wine, whatever, and get ready for some G Talk. It's my first solo podcast, first time here, kind of nervous. No, I'm kidding. We'll be fine. But before I get into what I want to talk about today, I want to set the scene, okay? It is finally October, my favorite month. It's not even my birthday month, but I just love October so much because the leaves are changing colors. The crisp air is absolutely delicious, okay? I went for a walk this morning. It was great. It just feels so cozy and comforting. And the summer feels busy and spontaneous and there's so much going on, but fall seems to slow down to a slower pace and you make your way back to a steady routine, which I love because I'm a routine person. So the scheduling of it all, I'm here for it. And also my favorite holiday is Thanksgiving, and that is in October. I love bringing friends and family together to enjoy good food and good company. So all that to say, today is a great day and it's a great season. And actually, I could find good things to say about every season. Fall is just when I thrive. So yeah, just wanted to paint a picture of my mood today. I was trying to think about what topic to cover today on my solo episode, and I decided that I wanted to answer a question today. This is a question that I get from my friends, coworkers, and even new people that I meet. And that question is, G, how are you so positive? How do you get such an optimistic view on things? How do you live a carefree life and not let things get to you? Okay, that was 3 questions. But first of all, I just want to say that while that is true for the most part, I am also only human. And I certainly have bad days or a negative mindset sometimes. I feel like I'd be lying to say that I didn't. And also, it just feels a little sociopathic if I never let anything get to my emotions. That's certainly not true. Things will, trigger a negative mindset in me. But I think as I've gotten older and entering my 30s, I have a pretty good grasp on how to turn negative mindsets around. And at least things that worked for me personally. And I have always been someone who internalized a lot of my feelings and emotions. I prefer to deal with them myself rather than consult others. I mean, I definitely have conversations with my friends and families. I tell them so much about my life, but at the end of the day, no one knows me better than me. And I know things that I can say to myself that will help me turn my mindset around. So today I wanted to share 5 of those thoughts or concepts or ideas that I use in my everyday life that helps helps me to turn my frown upside down, if you will. So dorky. Okay. I don't feel like any of these things are really groundbreaking. Nothing that you probably haven't really heard before, but especially if you're someone who finds themselves in like negative self-talk or worry or overthinking things, hopefully it can act as a reminder that you can reframe your thoughts and actions. So yeah, I think that's enough of an intro. Let's just dive into it. So in no particular order, but this first one is a thought that I have to use pretty often. And it often comes from like feelings of frustration towards someone or a situation, feeling helpless, feeling blame. And that is, you cannot control other people's actions. The only thing you can control is your own reaction to what others say or do. And I feel like this is something that people experience like every single day. Someone cuts you off in traffic or takes your parking spot, or like a friend or family member or coworker lashes out at you just because they're having a bad day themselves. And there's going to be positive and negative stimuli every single day because we live in a society where we have to deal with things beyond the four walls of our home. So this is something that should or is always in the back of my mind whenever I encounter something that might trigger a negative thought in me. And I feel like once you realize that you get to choose how you react to a person or a situation that triggers a negative emotion in you, man, is that the most empowering thing, right? Because to know that you are in control of who or what gets to live in your head rent-free, basically, don't let it stay there. Like at the end of the day, there's always going to be people or situations that make you feel frustrated. And instead of trying to change that, why not work within the realm of your control, your own emotions and feelings, and then decide whether it's worth your energy? But it's so powerful to give that control back to yourself because you get to decide, right, how that makes you feel. You get to decide if you're going to let it affect you for the rest of your day or your week. Is it worth it? Sometimes it is. Sometimes it's like an argument that needs to be resolved, or a situation where you need to maybe stick up for yourself or other people. Or sometimes you need to work through that situation and you actually need to come to some conclusion in a constructive way. But other times, you are just actively letting something that you have no control over dictate your mood. I generally like to live by the 5x5 rule. And I don't remember where it came from. I read it like a long time ago, but if I can find it, I will link it in the show notes. And that rule is, if it's not going to matter in 5 years, or even 5 months, to be honest, don't spend more than 5 minutes thinking about it. And honestly, I think that has really helped. Like, that just ingrained in my mind, because it brings me back to like, is this going to matter in even the next day? Is it going to matter the next day? If not, like, move on from it and don't let it occupy space in your head. The next mindset that helps me live a more carefree life is one of my favorite quotes by Dr. Seuss. And I think you guys have all heard it before because I mentioned it in my birthday episode. But that quote is be who you are and say what you feel, because those who mind don't matter and those who matter won't mind. I'm sure you guys are all like reciting it with me by now, but I find I use this one when I have feelings of insecurity, fear of being judged, or a fear of failure. I talk about this, in my birthday episode, but I do feel like as we get older, we just kind of care less about what other people think. Or like maybe we form better friendships later in life, or maybe, I don't know, other people just don't care as much either. But it's funny to me sometimes how we care what people who have just no business judging us think. Like, they're not our close friends. They're not people in our lives that we should care about what they think, but yet we do. And I think life is just simply way too short to hold yourself back because you're afraid of what people might think of you. Like, the people who are your people won't care if you're a little weird, or if you dye your hair blue, or if you want to start a podcast. In fact, they're going to encourage it. And the people who are going to laugh or make little comments, we all know about those little comments, little jabs, they don't really matter. And chances are they probably just wish they had the guts to do what you're doing, right? So don't be afraid to be yourself. There's two options, really, like those who mind don't matter and those who matter won't mind. And so either of those options sound pretty good to me. So be yourself. Don't be afraid. The third one is more of an action than a thought. And actually, like, the whole point of it is to not have it just be a thought. But this is one that I'm always trying to work on to improve my life and my mindset. And this comes about when I get those feelings of being unmotivated or feeling stagnant or having imposter syndrome. I just try to remember that confidence is built by keeping the promises I make to myself. Like, have you ever noticed that when you do something that you say you're going to do, like, I'm going to work out 3 times this week, that you feel so much more confident and more proud of yourself when you go and achieve it? And that inevitably puts you into a positive headspace. And then, like, the opposite is also true. So when I find that I procrastinate or can't stick to something I said I was going to do, I just engage in more negative self-talk, like, oh, like, you can't stick to anything, we're going to have to start from scratch. It totally makes sense to me, though, because you wouldn't trust a friend who always breaks a promise to you. So same goes for yourself, right? Why would you continue to trust and have confidence in yourself if you can never keep the promises that you make to yourself? So, whenever I'm debating with myself, like, you get into these like little arguments inside your head, like, should I do it? Should I not? Should I do it? Should I not? And you're like trying to talk yourself out of it. Say example, going to work out or running an errand or finishing a project. I always just try to think like, I am in charge of my own confidence, and there's nothing that can boost the confidence within like me being able to keep my word. And ultimately, that just makes you more optimistic because it reminds you of the things that you're capable of doing, and that you are able to get through a lot of challenging things. And it kind of goes back to that control, right? You're able to control your confidence by sticking to your word. Okay, so this fourth mindset is that most things are not as bad as it seems, or that you make them out to believe. And I think about this when I get anxious or overwhelmed. And I think it's like human nature. We often try to think of the worst case scenario so we can be like prepared for it. We kind of get worked up over what the outcome might be. We create these stories in our heads. A conversation that you don't want to have with someone, an interview, or even like a party that you're going to where no one there. You're like, oh my gosh, no one's gonna talk to me, and I'm gonna be so awkward, and it's gonna be such a brutal time. I don't want to be there. And have you ever gone into those situations and come out of it being like, oh, that was not so bad at all? I made new friends. I spent so much time and energy worrying about it for nothing. And I have definitely experienced that. And I actually find it to be true most of the time. Like, I make up all these stories in my head about how awful something's going to go. And then I come out of it being like, oh, that was fine. I can do that again. So as I've gotten older, I have stopped letting myself feel so anxious or dreading something before it happens, especially when the outcome is out of my control. Because, by telling myself that the moment I am dreading is going to come regardless if I worry about it or not. There's a quote by Leo Buscaglia, I think is his last name. He's an author and motivational speaker. And he said, "Worry never robs tomorrow of its sorrow. It only saps today of its joy." And I really love that quote because that helps me become more present and think about what is within my realm of control and not letting, again, going back to doing the things within your control, not letting worry take up your energy and your space. So I think about what is in my realm of control. If it's something that I can prepare for, then for sure I would do my best and try and prep for it as much as I can. Sometimes the worry and anxiety just comes from a lack of preparation too. So if that's something that I can do, I would do it. But the rest is going to go the way it's meant to go, whether I, again, let it live in my head or not. And I say all of that, but I just want to say also that, like, I am not naive to think that real problems don't exist in this world. They do. They absolutely do. And I don't want to downplay that with this mindset, right? Telling someone who's just suffered a loss that things are not as bad as you make them out to believe is like pretty insulting. But what I am talking about are the little, quote unquote, little everyday things that just keep you tossing and turning at night, creating stories in your head about all the ways it can go wrong. I just feel like we've survived all the challenges and obstacles thrown our way so far, and we can do it over and over again. That was my fourth idea. And the final idea is going to come as no surprise to those who know me, and this is probably the thing that I am most consistent at. And that is to find what you are grateful for every single day. And I know those who might know me are thinking like, of course, we get it. You have a gratitude practice. But I think being in a grateful state, like, literally alters my brain chemistry, as the young kids say. I start my day with gratitude by using my 5-minute journal. You can just get this journal at your local bookstore. Not sponsored, but the prompt will ask you to write down 3 things you're grateful for, 3 things that you're looking forward to, and an affirmation for the day. And you don't even need this journal. You can do this anywhere, right? And sometimes, like, I don't even write it in my journal. I'll just go outside and think about these things. But it's very simple. Only takes a few minutes, but it turns your mind to the present. And it helps your mind search for the abundance in your life. And, like, the things can be very simple and not that deep. Like, I think I've said multiple times on the podcast, I am not that deep of a person. But for example, this morning I wrote, I am grateful for the crisp autumn air, getting a good workout in to start my day, and the start of another month. That's it. And I just feel like always looking for things in your life that are good keeps you in a state of fulfillment, because you're not always searching for the want what I want. And I know, the cliche example of someone who has seemingly nothing in life, but is happy and fulfilled. And I have personally witnessed this as well. And then the other person who has seemingly reached wealth and fame and success being unhappy. And I have listened to many podcasts from successful and wealthy people who have confirmed this is often true. And I think it really goes back to gratitude, because when you practice gratitude, and Aesop said this, gratitude turns what we have into enough. So there's always something to be grateful for. And when you don't practice gratitude, like, no amount of success or achievement is ever going to be enough. I don't think the two are mutually exclusive, though. Like, I think it's absolutely possible to strive towards success and happiness, whatever that means to you, while recognizing the abundance in your life and not forgetting about the what I have when you're thinking about the what I want. Because so through that lens, like I said, it's always going to be in a state of, I already have a lot and my life is abundant, and I can seek and I can reach for more, but I already have an abundant life. And so, like, how is someone who is always seeking the good in life not going to be in good, positive spirits, right? So highly encourage a gratitude practice if you don't do one. And this can be super simple. Like I said, you can walk outside and look for 3 things that you're grateful for, or think about 3 things that you're grateful for. It's just about getting the habit and the practice in, because once you are at that level of the success that you want in life, you'll always come back to this gratitude. So that is my spiel for the day. 5 things that I think about or do that keeps me in an optimistic mindset generally. I hope you enjoyed the episode and that it inspired you, or, incorporate one of these mindsets into your own life. Like, we're all a work in progress, myself definitely included. So I'm always trying to work on these things. And if there's something that you do to stay positive or develop a healthy mindset, I would love to hear it. And David is not here today to do the spiel, our end spiel, so I'm going to just do it. But as always, if you guys enjoyed this episode, or if you enjoy our podcast, please leave a rating or a review, hopefully both. The reason why we ask for this every week is because we know that we have so many of our friends and family listening, and we really appreciate you guys for that. You guys are the best. But ratings and reviews will just push us out into the podcast world through algorithms that I cannot explain, but it will be pushed to those who might not otherwise be able to find us. So that is why we ask for your guys' help every episode to try and get us to reach a wider audience. We're always trying to grow. So yeah. And as always, if you or anyone you know have a story to share, or just want to talk about life in your 30s and how you're living, please reach out to us. We'll have the email linked in the show notes, and we'd love to hear from you. We'd love to have you come on the pod. So yeah, that is the podcast today, guys. Hope you enjoyed listening. We will be back next week for more. So until then, hope you guys have a great week, and we'll chat soon. Bye.